It is no secret that premium MPVs are one of the most popular vehicle segments in Malaysia, and in many years, this segment is dominated by two models, the Toyota Alphard and Velfire. But of late, we've seen lots of Chinese playmakers coming into this segment, and most of their offerings are electric EV MPVs. And of all the Chinese players, I think this thing is the most striking out there. This is, of course, the new Xpeng X9. On paper, this car looks very promising. It's got all the specs, all the necessary stuff, and look at it. It's very bold and very out there. But on the surface, at least. So how does this Chinese number actually gonna fare against the Alphas and Fire, and whether he's got all it takes to beat them? Let's find out. 我是 Muklis, 欢迎来 Caricarz. Off the bat, we can see that the X9 does not look like your typical premium large MPV out there, because take a look at it. It's the least fridge looking MPVs out there, and up front here you'll get this what Xpeng described as a robot face front design. Okay, key highlights here include this sharp LED headlights, and up here is a full width LED DRL that illuminates all the time, and down here of course you got a grilleless front loop, but the lower bumper intake is quite big to allow air channel to the motors and to the battery. But overall, on the front you can see by itself that this is definitely something different compared to your Alphards and Velfires out there. And just when you thought the front part of the X9 is very bold, wait until you see the side part, because as you can see, not only it rocks this very weird and nice looking, almost coupe-like MPV, this car is also very, very big, measuring almost 5.3 meters. It is the longest in the luxury MPV segment, about 300 mm longer than the Alphard and the Velfire. So you figure it out how big the car is. But other than that, you can see on the side you got this sculpted design that looks very nice and futuristic, and the car rides on this 20-inch multi-spoke Nebula wheels, which looks quite nice, and it's shot in these Michelin tires. But of course, the thing most interesting part is actually at the back. You can see it comes with this coupe-like rakish rear windscreen, giving the silhouette of this car something very unique and very distinct. And at the rear, you can see the rakish rear windscreen meets with the tailgate, and they almost make like a ducktail shape at the rear, giving this car a bit extra sportiness. And it also comes with this simple full width LED taillights, and if you notice, the Xpeng lettering is not limited because this is part of the 2025 model year update. Other than that, you get a simple rear bumper garnish and accent, an X9 logo at the back, and of course with this rakish windscreen, you're missing a rear windshield wiper. A bit of a bummer, but still okay, because at the end of the day, you're just going to use the camera to reverse the car because it's big. Alright, on board you can see that the Xpeng X9 gets the typical minimalist Chinese EV look. But before we get to the details, just a reminder, this is supposed to be the base spec X9 in our market. This is the standard two-wheel drive premium we got here. Okay, let's start with the screens, because up here you get this massive 17.3-inch infotainment screen that is powered by Qualcomm Snapdragon 8295 chipset. Not only it supports wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay off the bat without needing to wait for an update, it also comes with Wi-Fi and 4G connectivity, and it supports built-in streaming apps like Disney+, YouTube, Spotify. You can even karaoke inside the car, and even got its own built-in navigation system. And to update the software, you can just use it via over-the-air software update. No need to go to service center whatsoever. And this big screen is accompanied by a smaller 10.25-inch digital display cluster, which is quite intuitive, and the display is quite bright and clear, because unfortunately for the X9 you don't have any head-up display here, which is a bit of a bummer, but at least the meter cluster is quite intuitive enough. But of course, typical fashion of any minimalist Chinese EVs, you can see there are not many buttons here. The only visible ones are on the steering here, on the left side for the ADAS, on the right side for the infotainment, and the button for the window switches here. Meaning that to even change the angle of the side mirrors and even change the angle of the air vent, you still need to use the infotainment system, which is a bit of a bummer for me, at least on the ergonomical driver's side. But other than that, at the center console here, while we're here, there's a lot of things here. You got two 50-watt wireless charging pad, two cup holders, lots of stand storage, and you also got two USB charging ports down here. But one thing they got right is in terms of premiumness of this car, because the two front seats are not only powered, ventilated, they come with massage functions, not only for the driver but also for the passenger side, which is quite good to see. But only the driver side get the memory function. And in terms of materials, for the standard variant, it uses this premium leather, so it's like a very plus synthetic leather, and it comes in this moon coffee color, but for the sake of this video, we just gotta call it brown. But it looks quite nice and it feels very premium. It feels like something you found in an old S-Class or 7 Series. And even on the top of the front dash, they use this like Alcantara soft touch materials. And if you notice on the front dash, it comes with this wood veneers. These are real wood veneers, by the way, that makes the car looks very Scandinavian-ish, if you know what I mean. All right, running off the amenities here, you got digital rearview mirror, a mini panoramic sunroof up here, multicolored ambient lights, and of course, last but not least, the X Opera 23 speaker sound system that includes a headrest speaker on the driver's side. The sound, pretty good. Now we move to the second row seat of the X9, where arguably this is the best place for you to be inside the car. Okay, the car comes with a standard 7-seater configuration with a 2-2-3 seating configuration. So as a result, the center seat, you got 2 disc premium seat. But fortunately, for the 2025 model year update, the X9 comes standard with this zero gravity sofa seats as standard. So even for the standard variant, you also get this very premium seat. Okay, let's focus on the seat first. Yes, zero gravity means that once you push the button, you can go lie down flat and it feels like you're floating, hence the zero gravity moniker. And of course, it's not only powered, it's ventilated, and it comes with massage function with lots of options and intensity. Okay, for each seat, you also get one wireless charger on the right side here, a built-in cup holder, one USB-C charging port, and even extra storage to keep your device. And of course, each of them comes with a 3-point seat belt. Okay, on the side here, you can see it comes with this privacy blind, which is quite good to have because you're carrying lots of VIPs in this car, I assume. And this control panel here to open up the sliding doors, the windows, and even to fold down the TV, which we're going to talk about later. But up front here, you also get this foldable table. So in case you want to tap out any nasi kandar, you can just have your meal inside here. You can have a meeting here instead of going to restaurants and whatnot. Speaking of which, you also get this built-in refrigerator that also doubles as a food heater. Temperatures can go as low as 0 degrees Celsius and up to 50 degrees. So you can not only chill down your food, you can also keep them warm. Like for example, babies, you can keep your milk, your food. Like for example, you can tap out a nasi kandar from Penang and comes to KL, it will still be warm and toasty just like it came from Penang. And you also get dedicated control panel for the AC here. And up here, you can see these are actually the aircon vents. It's situated lined across the roof here. It looks like something straight out of a business class airline. And you also get a separate second panoramic sunroof here. So goes to show that even this is supposed a standard spec of the car, the X9 is really a very posh and premium cabin for you to live in. And not to forget, yes, the X9 comes with this foldable, massive 21.4-inch entertainment screen for the rear passengers, and it supports multiple streaming services like YouTube, Spotify, Apple TV, Disney Plus, and many more. And life at the third row seat of the X9 is surprisingly quite spacious even with the sloping roofline. I still got plenty of headroom and legroom is also quite decent. And with the width of the seat also quite nice, it's ideal for 2 adults and 1 kid to sit here at the center. And thanks to its EV platform, the floor is very flat here, so the sitting position is quite comfortable. And not only that, you also get dedicated aircon vents, 2 USB charging ports on either side, and the backrest of the seats are power reclinable. And at the back here, we're happy to report the X9 is not only a premium and luxurious MPV, it's also a very practical one, because despite the sporty rear windscreen, you got plenty of boot space here, measuring 755 liters extended even with the third row seat up, making it the largest boot space in its segment. Even the Alphas only got less than 500, so you got more space than any other luxury MPVs inside here. But just in case you need a bit of extra space, you can just hold this button for more than 2 seconds, and not only you can fold the seats down, the seats actually gonna go inside the lower cabin part here, thus leaving you a large flat surface of up to 2,554 liters of space. That's a lot. Essentially, you can actually transform this luxury MPV into a workhorse should you desire. But of course, like I said, this car rides on an air suspension system. You can actually adjust the ride height using the button here. And Unfortunately, because this is a front-wheel drive car, it doesn't have a front trunk or a frunk. But still, 7.5 liters, that's more than enough for you and your family. Alright, when it comes to powertrain, the Xpeng X9 underpins the same SEPA 2.0 platform as the Xpeng G6, where it features a silicon carbide platform with a 800-volt battery architecture. Okay, for our market, we only get the front-wheel drive single motor version of the X9, where it's about rated at about 315 horsepower and 450 newtons of torque. In my opinion, this power is more than enough to propel this large MPV in a relatively smooth and comfortable manner. Okay, more importantly, Xpeng claims 0 to 100 takes about 7.7 seconds and a top speed capped at 200 kilometers per hour. Alright, of course, with big cars, heavy cars, you need something, a bit of stabilization. And good thing is that unlike the Denza D9, the Xpeng X9 actually comes with air suspension system featuring a double wishbone setup at the front and a multi-link setup at the rear. And there are 4 different suspension modes. You got Comfort Plus, Comfort, Standard, and Sport. And not only that, in order to make you to maneuver this car much easier, there's also a rear wheel steering system in this car. Imagine a car under 300,000 ringgit, you can even get rear wheel steering. That's the good thing about Chinese cars. They literally give almost every premium features in the such relatively affordable car. Alright folks, so now we're behind the wheel of the Xpeng X9, and the first thing you notice is actually it's quite intimidating to drive this car because of the elongated front hood design. Everything, it certainly feels like a big car, but once you slam on the pedal, the electric motor drives the car nicely. You don't even feel like you're driving a 5-meter long car. That's just how smooth. But the power delivery itself, it's very smooth and very neat. It's not like something that's gonna get you the back of your seat like many other dual motor EVs out there, but it's just enough. And the fact that the motor just glides the car effortlessly, you know, you don't even notice if you're speeding. Like for example, I drove this car on the highway, suddenly I just realized I hit way above the highway speed limit just because how smooth the drive feels. Alright, so in terms of power also, I would like to highlight the regenerative braking of this car. It's very good, especially if you put it in the X pedal mode. It's quite adaptive. So essentially, Xpeng owns single pedal driving mode that works very well. You're hardly gonna use your brake pedal. Not that you should not use it, but it's just that it's so intuitive, and the braking intensity is just nice, not too harsh and everything. But in terms of handling, I would say this car, it still feels like you're driving a big MPV. But at the same time, like I said, it feels very effortless. It feels smooth and linear. So it's a very calming driving experience, because coupled with its very good handling motion. Because like I said just now, this car comes with a air suspension system and even a rear wheel steering to help you to maneuver in tight corners and even in faster corners or faster bend. But of course, the biggest highlight for this car, of course, we need to talk about comfort. And there I say this is one of the best EV MPVs that I've tested so far. Comfort level is supreme. Definitely better than the Denza D9, sorry to say. Because the suspension system, the air suspension, it comes with 4 modes. And I certainly think the standard is the best mode for our roads, because the comfort is just too soft for our not so even road conditions here in Malaysia. And another thing to highlight, of course, this being an EV, is how good the NVH level, because you don't even notice any wind noises. Tire noise is also good because it uses this Michelin E Premium C tire, which is optimized for silent driving, which is quite good to see. And this makes the Xpeng X9 a very ideal car for you to bring your VIPs and your passengers. So overall, this car, yes, not only you're gonna enjoy drive it, the passengers are gonna love this car because it's just so smooth, so effortless, and so comfortable. It feels like you're driving in a spaceship. Alright, when it comes to energy consumption, the X9, thanks to its 800-volt architecture, it is quite an economical EV, because after driving this car for like 2-3 days, I've driven it in mixed conditions. I drove it on highways at very high speed. I drove it in some B-rolls, in some cityscapes. So it's a bit of mix, but more towards being quite performance-y, because Xpeng claims the X9 can do as low as 16.9 kWh per 100, but from our driving stint, we managed to get around 17 to 20 of kilowatt hour per 100, which is quite okay, not too far. Goes to show that if you practice a bit of more lenient driving, you can really get close to the claimed volume. So I've driven this car in full charge. The claimed WLTP range is 500. I managed to get about 230, and I still got more than 40% battery left. So in theory, you can get at least 400 km off range easily, despite how heavy-footed your driving is. Okay, now we're gonna focus on the safety, because we know the Xpeng X9 comes with the latest X Pilot 2.5 ADAS suite. You got everything, adaptive cruise control, lane change assist and everything. Okay, the ACC works really, really well. It's just one of the best in Chinese car, but it's just that they still really didn't optimize for Malaysia that much, because the system really, it takes time for the system to detect motorbikes and everything, so that could be a bummer. But other than that, the blind spot indicator, the monitoring system, the rear coaster failure, everything works pretty good. And I also like to highlight, this car also comes with the parking assist, which I think works pretty well. If you really scared to park this big car, you can just use the auto park assist. It works pretty good, but you also get 360-degree camera view and even a transparent chassis mode, just to help you to maneuver this big car. But the only bummer for the safety is that yes, you get TPMS, but of course, this being an EV, you don't have a space for a spare tire. That's a bit of a bummer, but other than that, safety is pretty top notch for this car. There's nothing much to complain really. Alright, when it comes to battery, the standard range variant of the X9 we got here, it uses a smaller 84.5 kilowatt hour LFP type battery pack that grants it up to 500 kilometers of WLTP range. But interestingly, despite this battery being smaller in capacity compared to the larger NMC battery in the long range model, the car is actually 50 kilograms heavier. That's because we know that LFP batteries compared to NMC, they got a slightly worse energy density, not as good as NMC. So as a result, the car is a bit heavier. Well, that said, the good thing about LFP batteries is that they often be described as a safer choice compared to NMC, because it has more stable, it's got better thermal efficiency level, and even got better life cycle. So in theory, this battery should last a bit longer compared to the NMC counterpart. But okay, enough talk about the batteries. In terms of charging, the base spec standard range X9 supports up to 283 kilowatt DC charging, allow this car to charge from 10 to 80% in just 20 minutes. AC is capped at 11 kilowatt, taking this car from 5 to 100% in about 9.5 hours. So pretty ideal for an overnight charging situation. Okay, and just like many other EVs, it supports vehicle-to-load function at 3.3 kilowatts. So in terms of battery spec, it is really on par with other premium EV MPVs out there. But this being an LFP battery, it may be not as efficient as their NMC counterpart. Alright, after driving this car for a few days, I can comfortably say that the new Xpeng X9 has got all it takes to not only be one of, if not the best, all-electric premium MPV in Malaysia. And more impressive, the fact that this is just the standard variant that we got here, and goes to show that how well equipped Xpeng has spec'd the car here. And this base spec model, the premium two-wheel drive standard range, is priced at only 278,000 ringgit, making it one of the more affordable EV MPVs out there. But of course, typical fashion of any Xpeng Malaysia product, it comes with a very comprehensive warranty setup, including a 5-year vehicle warranty, an 8-year battery and motor warranty, and even 5-year free scheduled maintenance, giving you a very peace of mind ownership experience. So in case you're in the market for Alphas and Velfire, perhaps you need to step up the brake and visit your nearest Xpeng showroom and just try to test drive one of these cars, because I will surely tell you this will change your mind. But of course, you better hurry, because the EV tax registration is going to end later in 2026 unless Xpeng Malaysia decides to CKD this model here in Malaysia.